Good afternoon and welcome to this discussion in the Wire. Well, we'll be discussing the CBI verdict today. The suspense is now over and CBI Director Alok Verma has been reinstated as the CBI Director. The Supreme Court this morning ruled that Alok Verma should be reinstated as the CBI Director, obviously with a little bit of restraint that he can't take any major policy decisions until the CVC inquiry is over. We have Rohini Singh with us, who first reported on the issue. She was the first one to report on the war inside the CBI between the two directors, Alok Verma and his deputy Rakesh Asthana, both of whom were sent on leave on October 23rd. Alok Verma had challenged the government's decision and we have the verdict today. So Rohini, let me first ask you this. Is this a setback on the government?
Of course, it's a major setback for the government, Ajoy, because what the Supreme Court has essentially said is that the government's October 23rd order, where they sent the CBI Director Alok Verma on leave and they appointed an interim chief, was an illegal order. And this was the argument that Mr. Verma and his counsel had been making in the Supreme Court, that the appointment of the CBI Director, happens through this select committee, which comprises of the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, as well as the Chief Justice. And, and the reason why this, this had come in was to ensure that there is some surety of tenure for the CBI chief. We all know as to how the CBI is. It's such a, it's always open to all kinds of political, machinations. You have interference from politicians, governments of the day, and to insulate the CBI chief from all that, which is why the Supreme Court had, had initially come out with this guideline that there should be a fixed tenure for the CBI director. Yeah. And when he was sent on leave, the government had given all kinds of reasons. We'd had, Mr. Jaitley explaining why it was done in the best interest of the CBI because there was too much of infighting, etc., etc. But of course, all that the Supreme Court has, not taken into account. They've not taken into account the government's version of events, and therefore it is indeed a major setback for the Narendra Modi government.
So ever since Alok Verma challenged the government's decision, and Alok Verma has been at the loggerheads with the government over the last one and a half months since the time he has challenged it. And there was this high drama when Alok Verma accused the government of siding with Rakesh Asthana and kind of pre-deciding on his own guilt. But in a way, Supreme Court has not gone into all those things and has kind of reinstated the protected tenure of the CBI director. And you're already talking about. And so this selection committee and the protected tenure, in a sense, the Supreme Court has said is sacrosanct and the government cannot take abrupt decisions like the midnight order. Yeah. So, but ever since, so what happens to Rakesh Asthana now, who has also been sent on leave, and ever since these two were sent on leave, the other 4 officers who were investigating Rakesh Asthana's cases, they have been also transferred, and the 4 officers have also challenged this Nageshwar Rao's decision in petitions. So, what do you have to say?
That's an interesting thing. The Supreme Court has said nothing on the status of what happens to Rakesh Asthana. We know that the CBI was investigating Rakesh Asthana. In fact, that was the major point of friction within the CBI, and that is how things came to this point. After Nageshwar Rao took over as the interim chief of the CBI, and please remember, he was also told that you can't take any major policy decision. Yes, so I don't know what this policy decision angle is within an investigating agency, because most of the decisions that he'd taken fall in the realm of administrative decisions. That is what the government had said then when he had transferred officers who were investigating Rakesh Asthana and several others were sent on leave. Now, with Mr. Verma coming back, it will be interesting to see whether he reinstates the same officers. And that will again not come under policy decisions, that will come under administrative decisions, because let us be very clear that the precedent on what amounts as administrative decision has already been set by Nageshwar Rao. The Supreme Court has not even questioned that. So the same decisions can be taken by Alok Verma. So the next 23-24 days of his tenure is going to be a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, ever since, but let me recall the whole thing, how Alok Verma kind of ordered an FIR on Rakesh Asthana in a corruption case, in a graft case, and generally this, you've already reported on this, how the 2 top officers of CBI were fighting amongst each other, and when Alok Verma was sent on leave, at least 6 cases against Rakesh Asthana were going on, and the officers were probing it. But ever since Nageshwar Rao has come, he has already dismissed 5 of these cases, and the only one case is on this Moin Qureshi money laundering case, where Sana Satish has named Rakesh Asthana of taking bribes. That is the only case that CBI is currently investigating. So do you think that this is going to boil over now, since Alok Verma is back? Do you think there is a possibility that all the other cases can again be started?
Of course, because they could be, let's say, dismissed by Nageshwar Rao. Nothing stops the CBI director from reinstating investigations into these cases. But let us also understand, Ajoy, it's very important to understand why were these cases being dismissed against Rakesh Asthana, and why is Rakesh Asthana being protected by the government. It is only and only because of the interference of these PMO bureaucrats. PK Mishra, we've already spoken about his role, as well as Bhaskar Khulbe. Mr. Khulbe himself was getting investigated in the coal scam, and he was going to be named as an accused, and Mr. Asthana was pushing for him to be made a witness and not an accused. Now that, of course, was a major point of friction. PK Mishra and Bhaskar Khulbe are very, very important bureaucrats, and it would be interesting to see what happens on that coal scam, because that's an ongoing investigation, and the CBI chief, that is Alok Verma, has to now decide on what happens to Mr. Bhaskar Khulbe. So I believe there was some sort of this is what people close to Mr. Verma had told us at that time, that there was some sort of a quid pro quo that had been decided, that Alok Verma, Rakesh Asthana had assured Mr. Bhaskar Khulbe and PK Mishra that there'll be no investigation into Mr. Bhaskar Khulbe's role in the coal scam, and in return he'd get protection from the PMO. So all of this is again going to come to the surface, and I don't know, we're already in January, we're heading towards general elections. So a lot of this stuff that that had been written about and spoken about, and we'd spoken about it so much a couple of months ago, which had then of course became dormant for some time pending the court verdict, is now all going to come to the surface again. So we'll be hearing more about the Rafale case, whether there's going to be a PE or not. Again, that's a decision that Alok Verma has to take. And what happens to Bhaskar Khulbe? Will PMO bureaucrats be indicted? Let's not forget there are recordings and tapings of senior bureaucrats in this government. Will that come to the forefront? The allegations made by MK Sinha, the DIG, in his petition to the Supreme Court, some of them are very grave allegations.
He is also named a union minister.
He is named a union minister of taking bribe, and will there be an investigation there, or will there be a lot more talk about it? So I think it's the way the government mishandled it. I believe on the advice of a very top minister. It was on his advice that Alok Verma was sent on leave in the middle of the night. The way they've mishandled it, I think it's all just going to come back to, it's going to be a huge setback for them.
Yeah, but you also spoke about Rafale, and in fact, in one of your stories, you clearly mentioned that Alok Verma intended to go probe the Rafale deal, and he had written a letter to the PMO.
No, I hadn't done that story.
Someone else at the Wire. So you think that this Rafale investigation, now that Alok Verma has won his first war against the government, he and enjoys a protected tenure of 2 years, do you think that Alok Verma can go and kind of initiate some kind of, we'll hear more noise about Rafale inside the CBI?
I'm not really sure whether Alok Verma had actually written to the government. People close to Mr. Verma deny that he ever did on the Rafale case. But what we do know is that there is the Prashant Bhushan, this petition that was lying on his table, which was seeking a CBI inquiry into the Rafale case. Now, after all that has happened, it is for Mr. Verma to decide whether or not he will be filing a PE, but I won't be surprised if he does. A PE is a preliminary inquiry, and if he files a PE in an election year, on the Rafale case, we've already seen how it's such a political issue, and it will become an even bigger issue. And the Supreme Court order on the Rafale case did not prevent the CBI from probing it. It merely said that the court did not see any merit for ordering a court-monitored inquiry into the matter, but it did not stop any agency from probing it. So it will be interesting to see what Alok Verma does. And I won't be surprised, as I said, that if he does file a PE in the Rafale case.
And the court also did not did not make the CVC inquiry time bound. In that sense, like ever since in the last 1 month, the CBI director Nageshwar Rao, interim one, so he could not take any major policy decisions. Alok Verma can now not take any policy decisions. So do you think that this kind of stalemate in the CBI, which is the main investigating agency, the government is somehow responsible for the fiasco that CBI is right now facing?
I don't understand, what this not taking major policy decisions is, because if you look at what Nageshwar Rao has done, apart from transfers, he has also filed a charge sheet against Huda. He has filed an FIR against Akhilesh Yadav. Right? So these all, we are given to understand, they all come under administrative decisions, not policy decisions.
Policy decisions is in a way.
I think governments take policy decisions. I don't understand what policy decisions agencies take. So we're not very clear about that. But looking at what Nageshwar Rao has done, and that's the president that he has said, in the CBI as an interim chief with the same sort of a rider, what stops Alok Verma from filing a P in the Rafale case?
Exactly. But right now, if we are taking it forward, there's Manish Kumar Sinha's petition lying, A.K. Basi's, also Ashwini Gupta and S.S. Gurm, all of them have filed cases against the government. So there's like one section of the government which is completely antithetical to Alok Verma's interest, and Alok Verma, the CBI director, is at loggerheads, as you said, with the PMO. So how do you see this panning out in the future?
Narendra Modi is a very smart man. So is, Amit Shah. And I think if they, I'm given to understand that there are some attempts being made to ensure that, PMO bureaucrats are not going after Alok Verma anymore. I think a lot at what has happened and how things have panned out in the CBI, people within the government acknowledge has been the result of, bureaucrats trying to save themselves, as well as a senior minister who does not want an investigation into the Rafale case, because we don't know what it might throw up regarding his role in the whole matter. So I would be... I don't know how much, whether the government is going to test Mr. Verma any further, because, his tenure anyway comes to an end on the 2nd of February, just has just about 23 days. And he's somebody who can file a P in the Rafale case. So I'm not very sure whether the government is going to disturb him too much for the next 23 days. But it will be interesting to see how things pan out.
So I think we'll end the discussion here, and we'll get to see more of, as you said, like kind of we may kind of get to see more of this infighting between the PMO and the CBI director, which puts a big question mark on the CBI's autonomy for the next few months to come. And we'll leave it at that, and we'll follow up with more details whenever it comes. Thank you.